McLennan requested the queen measurements, prompting her to stand up straight until they heard a knock on the door showing Heinley who want to join choosing dress for Navier. He entered the room and admired a couple of designs and accidentally bumped into the Navier's hip. The queen pushed him, and Heinley froze with an album. Heinley froze and mumbled that maybe she want to keep the dress a secret. He then left, leaving the room awkward. Heinley is upset with his wife, who seems angry with him. McKenna, who comes into his office, asks what caused her anger. Heinley believed that the reason of her anger may be because she found out about his identity as the bird queen. McKenna questions Heinley if Navier discovered Queen's identity, but Heinley is not sure. McKenna asks why he didn't tell her and persuade him to tell the truth with her. After Heinley left, Navier regrets her unintentional push, expressing shock and embarrassment from Heinley's perspective. She planned to apologize and ask Rose to bring her something to wear. However, Heinley arrives at her door. Despite being late at night, Heinley wore the same clothes as the day. He broke the silence and confessed something serious. The queen was nervous, but Heinley's response was different from expected. He declared himself queen, revealing his true identity. She was surprised when Heinley revealed his identity to her. He apologized, stating that in their tribe, revealing one's identity is only allowed to family. She tried to comfort him and apologized for pushing him earlier. However, Heinley turned into a bird. Heinley, who turned into a bird, looked cute and charming to Navier. The queen approached him hesitantly and almost hugged him out of habit. She was worried if Queen is Heinley's subordinate, but was not angry when she found out Heinley was queen. She withdrew her hands and said she was not angry, causing her face to heat up again. She repeat that she is not angry and want him to return back to his original form, that where she can't see. But after half an hour he left. Rose and Miss Mostes noticed the queen leaving alone, and they were both puzzled. The queen explained that Heinley went out the window, and they found his clothes in her room. The queen was shocked, and wondered if Heinley didn't take his clothes with him. She is in an embarrassing situation, unsure how to respond to Rose's red neck. She tried to dissuade them by stating they were a married couple, but Mostes explains that anyone who sees His Majesty naked is not married to him. Navier picks up Heinley's clothes, smelling his perfume. She recalls Queen's sad expression from her previous birthday celebration, where Heinley cried and flew away. She wonders if Heinley is crying again, feeling heavy with worry and sorry for his emotional state. She questions Miss Mostes about a misunderstanding with His Majesty, who misunderstood her as angry. She suggests that His Majesty was shocked and would be better off if she was honest. Navier is puzzled by this, as she thought Heinley was emotional but didn't show much emotion to other. She decides to be honest and go to see him, but Rose explains that she can see everything and suggests wrapping his clothes in a cloth. Sovieshu caresses Rashta's belly when someone knock on the door. Maid Delise informs him that Marquis Karl is there, with an urgent meeting. Sovieshu instructs him to wait in the living room, and Rashta asks if he's leaving. Sovieshu tucks her in and leaves. Marquis Karl presented a newsletter to the emperor, who was shocked to learn that Navier heard that he had promised Rashta that he would divorce her. As dawn broke, the queen leaves her palace to clear the misunderstanding with Heinley. Unexpectedly, she saw her brother, who met Heinley. Kosher hugs her tightly and shares his heartbreaking story of Navier's divorce and how it didn't disappear just because he married Heinley. He explains that he avoided her because he feared causing trouble, and that Sovieshu would still have left her if he loved Rashta. Navier jokes about his brothers avoiding her, but still meets with Heinley. Kosher mentions his name in the knight's expedition before the wedding. She appreciates the tradition and the potential for a boosted reputation of the knight who handles situations well. Heinley wanted her brother to join the knight's expedition to improve his reputation in the Western Kingdom. She hugged him tightly, and he praised Heinley for his thoughtfulness, and asked Navier if she likes him. She agreed, because he didn't necessarily mean love. She saw Heinley standing, who hesitated to approach her because she avoided him earlier. Despite her embarrassment, she approached him, stating she wasn't avoiding because of anger. Heinley replied Navier to become honest with him, which shows his eyes with anxiety, and told that he can't sleep well if she keeps avoiding him. The queen confesses to Heinley that she saw him naked, but she can't look at him in the eyes due to the image in her mind. Heinley, dumbfounded, didn't understand Sink Navier's statement. He told to himself that she saw me and avoided looking at me. Unexpectedly, he fanned himself, causing his neck and ears to red. After a moment, fanning didn't seem to have any effect. Heinle asked where did she saw him naked. The queen replied that she had saw him at a fountain in an abandoned palace. She also added that he was soaked with water that time, causing another embarrassment to him. Navier is being embarrassed too, but can now talk to Heinle face to face, but Heinle remains silent. The atmosphere is strange, and she wonders if it would be better to hold hands in silence. Heinle touches her fingertips and she holds his hand. Heinle asks if she had eaten yet, and they intertwine their fingers. An attendant enters, flinching at their intertwined hands. During an eating session, Navier and Heinle discuss their relationship, initially feeling awkward. Heinle asks if the image of him keeps popping up in her mind, which she said not anymore, which is a lie. Despite lying, Heinle persists and asks about his image, promises to show his body every day after their wedding. Navier coughs and cries after hearing what he said, and recognize her handkerchief. Heinle answered that she gave it to the bird which he is. She will argue, but Heinle's image pop up on her mind, showing him with handkerchief tied around his neck. Navier is embarrassed by an embarrassing image and hands over the handkerchief to Heinle. Heinle smirks and offers to make Navier's imagination come true. Soviesha wrote a letter to Navier, expressing his intention to keep her on his side and believed the misunderstanding was the only barrier to their relationship. Marquis Karl arrived, and he handed the letter to him, which was sealed with wax. Marquis Karl was confused, but Soviesha explained that it was for Navier. He suggested secretly delivering it to Navier to avoid King Heinle's interference. Rashta starts a new hobby of entering the Empress's room to improve her mood. Rashta hopes that comparing herself to the former Empress will make her mood better on her wedding day. Rashta discovers a strange wooden box hidden in a chair, containing documents related to the deposed Empress. Rashta examines the documents carefully, which reveal that Empress Navier personally sponsored institutions like orphanages, nursing homes, and support facilities under the imperial family name. There was letter to Rashta, a former empress left who expresses her inability to support institutions after her divorce due to sponsorship under the imperial family's name. Navier suggests she should continue with her money under the imperial family's name. Rashta felt bad after reading the letter, but remembering what Navier had done to her, she believed that Navier's actions led to her being driven out. Rashta angrily takes the promissory notes, letter, and documents, questioning if she should sponsor under her name to protect her reputation and gain trust, despite the imperial family's name being suggested. After several days together, the two seemed to get along better, and when Laura and Countess Jubal arrived, the place will become lively. She asked Miss Rose the most popular person in the Western Kingdom's high society, and she answered Duke Liberty and Miss Mullany. They were close relatives, and the Queen asked if it was possible to meet them both.